Well, welcome to V8 Online's live coverage of the Iracing V Supercars official series, season finale week 12. It's Bathurst week, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at wonderful Mount Panorama, Bathurst. 25 laps tonight in some V8 Supercars. Jake Bird with me in the combox again. Jake, welcome, mate.
Yeah, cheers Sam. Going to be an awesome one tonight. Not only is it a fantastic racetrack in our lovely V8 Supercar, but we have some great drivers out there. We have some regulars, Jared Filsell, Josh Rogers, Richard Hampstead, all the names we know here in Australia, but as well as that, we have Mark Perez and a couple of the Euro guys who have been doing the European softs that's become so strong this season. Mark Perez has actually recently been crowned the official season champion this season in the official series, so congrats to him for that, but it'll be interesting to see how he goes against Australia's best.
Yeah, and this is also sort of a final live test, as you would put it, for guys doing V8 Scops. Last chance to get a race in with other guys before we go start the V8 Scops season 2 weeks from now at Montreal. So a lot of guys, TTR and TTL of course, with big showings tonight, getting a couple of guys out there having a run. A couple other teams as well talking. Mitch McLeod, Hayden Dobbin are out here as well. Luke Harvey, a regular. Michael Cracknell's come out from wherever he's been hiding the last couple of weeks and has joined us for a race as well.
In terms of who we've got out on the grid tonight, we're in qualifying. I think the story of this season in terms of pace, and probably what the story will be for the rest of this year, is Josh Rogers being up the front. And just taking a look, I think he's actually just started his lap, so we'll see if we can look at Josh Rogers. He's on the way up Mountain Straight. Think the lap times for this weather, it's about 29 degrees, so the guys got the cold track they were praying for.
4s or 3s you'll see. 204, yeah. I reckon a low 204, and you'll probably see Rogers and Jared dip into the 203s.
Now we did talk about this pre-race, Sam, but fuel strategy. It's pretty much a full tank can make you about 9 laps with about 1.5 litres in reserve, but on this colder track it could be a little bit borderline. Yeah,
a bit more fuel being used across the top, bit more grip, giving more confidence, more of that loud pedal, using probably a bit more fuel. As that Rogers, it looks like he's just clipped the wall, exiting, in the grate as well. It could be just netcode because we are of course on a European server. So Mark Perez, the only guy in the server with a green ping at the moment, everyone else is in the orange or the red.
Yeah, Rogers definitely one of the more committed drivers out there, but the strategy for tonight is it's going to be a 2-stop, very restricted tanks, about 30%. So yeah, it's going to be 9 laps, or 997 would be the strat if you just go tank to tank. But guys can, there's a little bit of strategy. You could do 7 laps or 8 laps, but it's pretty well locked down. There's not going to be too much in the strategy here. It's basically 3 very, very short qual run spec stints.
Well, thankfully, next season we're doing away with, I'm going to say it, these ridiculous fuel caps. They are absolutely stupid. It telegraphs the strategy straight away from when you join the server first day of the week. Next season it's a blanket fuel cap across the whole season, much like we see in the Blancpain Sprint Series and stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but a blanket cap every round is the same, so you never know what you're going to get. Some rounds will be a fuel saver, some rounds might not be. So hopefully next season we see less of these ridiculous 8-lap stint races where you do 3 of them.
Interestingly though, Sam, qualifying times have started to come in, and it's a 204.9 from Filsell and only a 5.1 from Rogers. So colder track means these guys might actually have a chance on the second lap round, but since this tyre's come out, it's normally been the first lap wonder, so it could be the grid set there.
Someone who's mixed it up a bit, Mitchell Sealax, just popped into 3rd with a 205.296, a 10th off Rogers, his new teammate, but he's interestingly, Rogers just hit the wall at Griffin's Bend. Interesting, he's 4/10 faster than his boss, Richard Hampstead, at the moment.
Yeah, well, in the early race, it was between myself, Jared Filsell, and Mitch Sealack for the race. Jared and I managed to pull away, but the quali results, the gap between Filsell and Sealack was much the same, about 3/10 in the early race as well. So Sealack and Filsell, I'd say, are about there. Just Rogers probably hasn't pulled out the lap that he needs to pull out yet.
So Hobson as well, who's sporting the new Sunji Sim Racing livery that they released last night. He's in 6th position. 205.804, he's 200 slower than Mark Perez, just coming through the chase now to finish his 2nd lap.
And a couple other guys we're seeing out there tonight. Kurt Stenberg back in 14th, recently signed Apex Racing Replicas TTR Rising Stars driver, as well as Lee Ellis has come back out tonight, a couple TTR guys out.
Hobson's second lap didn't count. Yeah, talking pre-race, Jake, apparently this is their first outing for Kurt Stenberg and Sam Blacklock as TTR Rising Stars drivers, so the official hit out for these guys first time up.
That's correct, Sam, but Sam I don't think has made top split. His I-rating isn't quite there yet, so he'll be looking good in second split, but I got my eyes on Josh Rogers at the moment, seeing if he can try and improve. I don't believe Phil
just
Sell.
pipped him. Hammers just dropped in the second with a 205.095. Phil Sell didn't go faster.
This will be
Rogers coming through the last corner. I don't know. 5017.
501. Okay, so that's going to be
Phil
Jared Sell.
See what Sealak can do as well. He's in fourth position. He's probably just off track there, exiting the chase.
Tell you what,
looks pretty committed into the final corner. No, he's packed that in.
Phil Sell's going to be happy with that. I think Phil Sell probably went into this race not expecting pole. I think him and Richard both obviously got pro licenses recently, and Richard immediately lost his. So I think Richard and Jared are both here for safety rating tonight.
Yep.
So bringing up the front two rows alongside Rogers and Sealak, it's going to be interesting. But TTR comes up on top after qualifying.
Yes, we'll just run through the grid now. It's pretty much set, and then we'll get into the gridding. So we've got Phil Sell on pole with 204.961. Joshua Rogers right next to him in P2. Richard Hampstead P3, and then Mitchell Sealak P4. Mark Perez, newly crowned champion, fittingly wearing the number 1, is in 5th. 6th, Bretton Hobson and Tyson Williams is in 7th. Actually a good showing from Tyson as well. Showed some good pace the last couple of weeks as well. David Moore 8th, and Mitchell McLeod 9th. And Wayne C. Burke, and name we haven't seen around much recently, rounds out the 10.
And over the page, you have Jordan Murphy, Kurt Stenberg, Ryan O'Sullivan, Todd Parks in 14th, Hayden Dodman 15th, Crackers has made a return for SDC in 16th, Adria Perez in 17th, Dean O'Brien 18th, Lee Ellis, probably not the show he wanted to put on tonight, in 19th, very close between the 17th and 19th range in terms of lap times as well, and Luke Harvey rounding out the 20. But how close is it up the front, Sam? That's what, half a tenth between Phil Sell and Rogers, and I'd probably say Rogers could have had pole if he managed to get the lap on his first lap.
I am going to put this out here now, Jake. I think these guys are on race trim for their quality laps. Just quietly. It's pretty much the same though as race trim and quality trim is basically the same, but I don't think there's much. There's probably a couple of tenths going dropping the fuel out, but these guys are probably going to do those lap times in the race as well.
Yeah, well, it probably wouldn't surprise me if Phil Sell was as well, but yeah.
I think the whole top 4 are, at least.
Okay, well that's interesting. There's about half a second back between Sealak and Perez. It shows a bit, taking nothing away from Perez, but it does show how important that European strength of field is in terms of pace when, the guy who's crowned champion is about 8 tenths off pole. But still a good showing from him in 5th. I think this race is pretty much going to be a battle between Phil Sell, Rogers and Hammer. In the early race, Sealak dropped back a bit from Phil Sell and myself, so maybe with the colder weather the car might come to him a bit.
Yeah, it's going to probably be the breakaway front 4 and then the battle for 5th on back, providing nothing crazy happens. We have seen some crazy stuff happen as the cars are all gridding up now.
Also, cold track's going to make it so hard to get these things off the line, Sam.
Yeah, lap 1 across the top's going to be very sketchy. As we've got cars around the corner, Richard Underwood's actually parked pretty much on the apex, so David Morales is pretty much on the apex of Murray's corner.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough start for them, but I think the revs are starting to rise, Sam.
Yep, the noise begins to build. Green flag, lights are out. Good start from Phil Sell. Rogers, not a great one. Hampstead having a look into turn 1, going to the outside, blocks his teammate Sealak.
Oh, look at the understeer Richard's got. This is going to open him up to Sealak, but Sealak gets a little bit loose. It's going to be all Phil Sell on the run up Mountain Straight,
looks
left
pretty
and
clean
right.
Back in the pack as well. No one around yet, but wait till we get to Griffin's Bend.
Yeah, the cutting will probably be where everything goes downhill, but
We've got 2 wide, Wayne Burke, Mitchell McLeod. Burke up the inside, getting that pass done for position 9, but looks at Mitchell trying to hold the outside, not going to work there.
Rogers actually running a little bit wide through Griffins as they run up through the cutting. This is the choke point on the track.
I'm waiting for the shunts to occur.
Front 10, 15, 20 are all through pretty clean.
Or someone just get the wall in the background. Actually, we're pretty good. Now the awkward part, Jake, mentioned with the servo is you're going to see cars hitting the wall that aren't actually hitting the wall tonight. So it's very awkward when you're following. You'll see, for Rogers, he'll see Yarra just collect the fence, and in fact he hasn't done it at all.
Fuel Cell has actually got about half a second over Josh Rogers. It'll be interesting to see how these guys are set up. I know that TTR car has some pretty good straight line speed, so it might make things a little bit difficult for Rogers, but the one to watch might actually be Richard Hampstead coming through with that double draft. Such a hard track to follow here at Bathurst.
Well, Perez has done a good job as well at the moment. He's right under the rear wing of Cialak. So the breakaway I expected hasn't occurred just yet. I actually expected it to kind of be lap 1 they'd break away, but probably around the first stop. And we aren't getting enough laps in a stint to get some real tyre wear into this car, so I think we'll see guys running fairly closely in the pit stop. Your efficiency on entry and exit, as well as your ability to get in the box cleanly, will determine some positional changes tonight.
Yeah, that's all truth, Sam, with two
Rogers is closed up though to Fuel Cell.
Yeah, Rogers was doing about 292 kilometres an hour coming into the chase, so that's flying. Maybe have a little bit of a look back in the field and seeing Lee Ellis and Glenn Postlethwaite together, and there's contact that's going to send Postlethwaite across the curb. Somehow he's kept that straight. Now Lee Ellis is going to be too wide with David Morales entering turn 1. I know Lee did about, I think he
Luke
said...
Harvey up the inside of, who's that back in the field? Adria Perez?
Lee, you get a replay of that, but Lee did tell me that he'd done about 1 corner of practice in preparation for this race. Now
So
seeing Richard Elwood making a move on him.
Lap 2, Jake, different story. Rogers is well and truly over the rear end of Fuel Cell's car now.
Yeah, maybe Rogers just getting some heat into those Dunlops a little bit earlier than Fuel Cell, but both of these guys, this is the stage, this first lap, this is where they're going to be doing their fastest laps, at least of this stint. Tyres do come off pretty heavily here at Bathurst.
I don't know, I
Just
think
having to get out
28
of the
degrees will save it a bit. I know I did a couple of laps earlier tonight and you can get about 3 laps of decent pace and you'd be going quicker and then you started to fall off again.
And Richard Hampstead as well, he has disconnected a little bit, but he hasn't dropped too far off the back of Rogers. He's certainly gapping Mitchell Ciolak.
He's probably just in that comfortable zone where he's not having to push too hard to stay with them, and the draft is sucking him up when he needs to. So if he makes a mistake across the top, he knows the draft's sort of a safety net at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Richard and Jared, both obviously guys very familiar with this track, both with a Bathurst 1000 V8 Scots race to their name. However, I don't think Josh Rogers has actually ever done a Bathurst 1000 in the V8 Scots.
He did 2015. Didn't go so well.
Yeah, back in the younger days of Rogers when he was with Joe Burkett at ASM. But Rogers now closing up, both of them dropping
Rogers
wheels.
monkey see, monkey do there.
Yeah. Saw a bit of that happen at the weekend of the V8 at Fuel. Oh, Fuel Cell going to oversteer on exit there. This is probably going to open up the line for Rogers. Knowing Rogers, he'll be optimistic straight away, and he shoves it down the inside. Then shuts the door on Fuel Cell. Fuel Cell's now going to be pushing her up Mountain Straight. This is going to allow Hammer to actually catch up. White line for Josh Rogers.
Oh, we saw a lot of this last night too, Jake, in the Porsche white line stuff from Rogers. Going to make Fuel Cell go a long way, and the long way at Griffin's Bend doesn't really work unless you're Craig Leonson in about 96.
Rogers is going to keep it though.
It's going to open the door for Hampstead though.
Hammer may chuck it down there, but I doubt it. He's going to have to go the long way.
They're here for SR, remember, so they're not going to bin it.
Richard had a little think about going inside there. That was cheeky. He thought about it. Not this time. It's probably better to actually stay on the back of Jared and see if he can chase him up to Josh Rogers.
Well, now I think it's going to be interesting. Does Rogers drive away like we've seen the last few weeks when he gets in clear air? Or does he Fuel Cell have the pace to stick with him? Or will that mirror full of 2 2TL Falcons sort of distract him a bit? We're down looking at Todd Park's 12th, 13th, 14th.
Oh, crash at the top of the hill. Sorry, David Moore, all the way down the hill, has had a big accident.
Yeah, he's through the cut through in the S's. He's just parked it up there.
He nearly put that off the side of the mountain. See if we can get a replay on that. He got sideways on the curb and nearly put that over the fence.
So live gap Rogers to Fuel Cell 0.6 at the second. In fact, that's the gap between the top 4 cars, 0.6 between all of them.
These guys weaving left and right up the straight.
It's cold, Jake, warming the tyres.
Ciolak actually isn't too far behind this, nor is Perez really, so
No, all within striking distance at the moment. And I think at the moment, most of the field is within about 0.6 to a second of each other. exclusions of that, Mitchell McLeod and Todd Parks, they're probably pretty spaced out at the moment. Parks actually just made a move on Stenberg in this lap as well, so he's up from 12th from 13th, sorry.
Yeah, fuel cell was very deep under brakes behind Josh Rogers then, so seems like Jared may be struggling with a little bit of understeer behind the back of Josh Rogers.
So we've got Adria, Perez, Stuart Vaughan battling for 16th and 17th. Stuart Vaughan had a look into Mel Corno. He's now vulnerable to Luke Harvey because he showed the nose and didn't do anything with it. Not really smart play with the car behind you and racing for position as well. It's more something you do when there's no one behind you.
Yeah, this is actually quite a big train here. This extends from Todd Parks in 11th all the way back to about probably Glenn Postlethwaite in 19th. So this is a solid train here. We've noticed Stuart Vaughan's been our guy in amongst all the fights so far this season.
He's at the back of a train again. He's still always there.
We can check in.
Cracknell's in the fence. Sorry, Cracknell's in the fence just entering the grate. He's got loose across the rise out of that dogleg section. I can't remember the name, but sorry, I just remember there's that dogleg section and he's put it in the fence there.
I think he's actually nicked the fence, Sam.
Yeah, he's gone in, just sort of nicked it a bit with the front left. Nothing too bad. It wasn't too much of a pace. He tried to save it, but he's got a front bit of damage now.
Let's take a replay. I think Crackers maybe has had a bit of time out on the V8 over Christmas and she's struggled to adjust to it back again. He was really quick last season, but he's letting the whole field go on the way back down to the nipper, so that's probably going to be him done for tonight. Let's take a look back up to the front. Rogers very sideways on the way out of the chase. I think you'll find fuel cells probably brought in a little bit of this margin this lap. We'll see when they cross the stripe.
0.2 of a second he's brought it in so far. Rogers' bit of front right damage, the same as fuel cell, probably just some net code stuff.
Yeah, so about a tenth quicker from fuel cell that lap by.
Hampstead's under pressure from Sealac.
Hammer hasn't really dealt with the tyres going off quite as well as Sealac has maybe. I know this isn't Hammer's first race for the week, I don't think. I think he did one earlier in the week.
Yeah, it's his first decent race in a while, though, and I think Lee Ellis has just gone and classed the lap down now, so he appears to be done.
Oh, fuel cell fighting that TTR Harrop Commodore on the way out of turn 2. Now, fuel cell tried something on me in the early race, and he decided to actually pit a lap early in the first stint, so you get obviously the fresh tyre advantage and take about 5 litres less fuel, and then take it back at the end of the race. So it wouldn't surprise me if fuel cell does that to get straight position.
Standing now, sorry Jake, in a nice battle here with Todd Parks, Ryan Sullivan and Hayden Dodman. Nice 4-car pack. Adria Perez and Stuart Vaughan watching on in the background as well, working. What you're saying, Jake, it's a fair point, but I do believe you guys raced on a hotter track, so that undercut will work. Here, cold tyres, you're going to lose a bit of time across the top, so it's almost worth waiting for the guy to pit and then pitting after him.
Yeah, you make instant time with the fuel though, Sam. You have to take about 5 less litres if you pit a lap early, and then you obviously lose that back in the last stint. So with that gap, that's about, what,
with the fuel flow though,
so?
it's not a lot. Oh, Dodman's given Stenny a hit into the elbow. It's actually going to cost Dodman now because he's on with Perez.
Perez is going to have this done by the end of this straight.
He's got to get in the draft though. He's sitting half a car with that. Get right in there.
Hayden just complaining some net dramas.
Oh, Vaughan.
Yeah.
Vaughan's got some good straight line speed. He's on the brakes there, mate. Keep your foot in it. Go around the outside of him.
O'Sullivan's had a go on Todd Parks. Now Stenny's all over it. Goes to the outside. Parks is going to hold the inside.
It's going to be awkward outside here, Stenny. What's he going to do?
Oh,
O'Sullivan sends it.
This could be
not
a
even there.
from Stenny. Yep. Oh, no.
Dodman just put the nose there.
Stenny had to open up the steering there, partly because of Dodman and partly because of O'Sullivan. It's Dodman's deep again.
Yeah, it's very deep.
Stenny power sliding that Apex Replicas Commodore.
Rogers was half a second faster than Phil Salt last lap as well, gapping out to 1 second. And Sealac has fallen off the back of Hampstead quite substantially.
O'Sullivan taking a look down
Yeah,
into
to the inside of
Griffins.
Parks. Oh, Parks having involvement out of Dodman. Dodman's got the run.
He's clear.
Stenny's vulnerable to Perez. What's Perez going to do?
This is dangerous.
He's not Australian. He's not as sane as us. Sorry. Tries to go around the outside of the cone. Doesn't work.
Stenny gives him plenty of room. Good driving there by both those guys. That's just going to play out as it is. It wouldn't surprise me if O'Sullivan pulls away now. He did have a fair bit of pace.
I think
over
Parks was the
Parks.
cork in the bottle, and probably still is at the moment.
See what Stenny can do. It'll
So we
probably
are
have
on
a
lap
move
6
on
to
chase.
lap 6 to 25, so it stops me in the next couple of laps. So the
Oh,
window for you.
over Parks. Window opens at the
Next lap.
completion of next lap.
Yeah, so the 997, flip it around, it opens next lap.
Yeah, you probably want to save that's light car, new tyres, not very much wear for the last stint, so you can fight with it. So it wouldn't surprise me if most of the guys go 8 or at least,
Although-
9 or at least 8 laps.
Although if you feel like you've got car pace and you're being held up, you take the short stop now, jump the guy and drive away, build the gap, and then take the hit.
I
in the
reckon
next stop.
Phil Sell will probably pit at the end of next lap. I reckon he's going to try and get the track position over Rogers because he probably knows that's his only chance of winning this one.
Well, last lap, identical time. So Murphy's just peeled off into the pit lane. I believe this will be a scheduled stop.
Nah, it's too early. He can't make it if he does that.
He's just got to save a bit.
Unless
He's got 20
it's
laps. He's
5
got
litres
20 odd
though.
laps to. Yeah, that's not much to save in 20 odd laps.
I just don't know. I would have made that risk though, but it's actually only about 3.5 because there's normally about 1.5 litres left when you pit. But
Now, the point we made, Jake, sorry, of O'Sullivan driving away, is very incorrect at the moment. That train goes all the way from O'Sullivan back to around about David Morales, back to Postlethwaite. So O'Sullivan's in 11th, Postlethwaite's in 18th.
I was just listening to O'Sullivan. Actually, it sounded like he was short shifting. It's a little weird, but I'm sure.
Let's save a bit.
Stuart Vaughan actually all over the back of Perez, who's all over them. Oh, we've actually seen Parksy go wide. Although Stenny's done a bit of monkey see, monkey do as well, so these guys are not seemingly able to do much to each other, unfortunately, because they're all pretty much in the draft. No one can really get a huge run.
Yeah, I think if you guys like Stenny, Perez, Vaughan right now, and you're not sort of making real headway, just save a bit coming up to these stops and you'll probably jump them in the stop. Even just rolling out every hit so often, you'll just save a little bit to gain those tenths of a second when you're this close. Better pit entry, sneaking out of the rear wing there to dodge the speed camera. And so Murphy's still in the pit lane. He's definitely not a scheduled stop.
Yeah, Phil Sell just looking to see if he maybe boxes this lap. I personally would if I was him, but we'll see if he does.
Hobson and Perez at the moment side by side into the chase. Hobson up the inside as he gets stopped. Use a bit of a curve. Oh, great driving Perez. We've seen it before with myself and Lee Ellis where you try to go to the outside and you get rolled. Didn't get rolled that time.
And all of the top 6 are staying out. 7, yep, all of
Williams
pretty
has
much the
tightened up on this now because of that too wide through the chase. This battle's 5th, 6th and 7th.
Doesn't look like we're going to see anyone in this lap. Oh, what has happened there? I've just gone back to Kurt Stenberg and there was some 3 wide stuff going on. See if we can get a replay.
Vaughan's gone.
Yeah, what happened there? Perez went deep, collected Stenny and fed him off the road. And Vaughan basically tried to do what Garth Tander did at Bathurst in the real life 1000. And
That's actually nearly a mirror image. And you know what's confusing? I just realised there's 2 Perez in this race. It says a Mark Perez and Adria Perez. I'm getting confused when you say Perez here.
So what that did is that brought Harvey up 2, that brought Vaughan up 2, and it brought Stenny up 1.
Harvey to the
Perez.
inside, Griffin's bend on Stenberg.
Oh, a bit of net.
Stenny using the fence, nearly. Oh, gets it out of there.
Oh,
Postlethwaite's going to benefit. Adria Perez, the number 5 car, the lower place Perez at the moment, has a look, don't think's better of it. Lee Ellis is back out on track as well.
Hammer on Tom, these guys.
There's not going to be many straight cars in that pack at the moment. So we're seeing Rogers just come out of the elbow now, so will one of them consider pitting now?
I reckon Phil Sell will. That's what he did in the early race. He went 8.98, and I would say that's probably what he's going to do in this one as well.
Now, Hammer would be in Rogers' ear, though, when telling him that Phil would probably try and do that.
I don't know what Hammer's going to do, actually. Just looking back at Stuart Vaughan, we've seen him stop.
Yeah,
He's
stopped
got
in
big
the
rear
S's.
end damage. Yeah, he's done it on his own. He's rotated at the top of the hill and had a big shunt.
He's actually hit the inside wall, and then he's got on that killer curb on the outside, and round he goes.
It's such a
So
shame.
Rogers, Phil in.
Stuart
Hempstead
Vaughan.
in.
Yeah, so Hempstead's responded. Let's take a look at Morales, Stenberg, and Perez up the
Perez,
front
Hobson.
straight.
Oh, this is going to be sketchy. Standing on the brake, showing no chase. Howard throwing it in there.
Bit of front end damage.
Too wide.
Perez off the road.
Yeah, Adria Perez off the road. Who's going to pit? Is someone going to try and pit here?
Yeah, Stenny's backed off to pit.
Oh, Howard, oh, that was very nearly a mega accident.
Stenny's deep.
Stenny's gone. Has he angled it? I thought he nearly also angled it there. So cars that pit, it was Phil Sell, Hempstead, Mark Perez, Brenton Hobson, Wayne Burke, Luke Harvey, Kurt Stenberg, Richard Aylward, Dave Oliver. They've all come to pit lane.
See if we can get a replay of Kurt Stenberg's pit lane entry.
Pit stop times, Phil Sell, Hempstead, identical.
So
14,
they've just filled it up to the top.
Yeah, 14 and a half to 15 seconds.
So Rogers will, well, he'll need to pit this lap, no doubt about it. He generally uses a bit more fuel.
Hobson had the quickest stop of the field, according to our
Maybe
director.
taking his short fill, unless he just got a late stop.
Could have just pulled it up nicely on the marks. So yeah, Rogers has to pit now, but remember, Phil still gets the gain in this stop, Rogers will get it back in the next stop. Just having a replay on screen of Stenny's interesting pit entry there.
The thing is though, Sam, is if Rogers gets a bad stop now, he could get caught up with Ciolak and Hammer. So
not that bad. He's got to have a 5-second bad stop. He's got to muff the pit entry.
He might though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
nah, he's too good.
That's what happened to me in the first race. I took the longer stop early and pretty much got involved with some lap traffic, and that threw away my advantage later in the race.
Phil Sell came out. So right now, if Rogers pits, he's going to probably come out behind Phil Sell, and he's going to have a tough time slotting in between Phil Sell and Hempstead, because Hempstead actually gained in the stop.
Yeah,
and
Rogers
they're dealing with some traffic at the moment as well.
Wide into the pits as well. Rogers will lose 2.5 seconds probably to Jared Philsell in this pit stop.
So what we're going to look, we want to look at Adju Perez in 17th, because that's where we think he's going to pop out in that sort of pack. He's got a nice gap behind Hempstead to drop into, but if he pops out anywhere between Perez and Hempstead, it's going to be a very awkward rejoin and a very interesting run up Mountain Straight.
And Rogers is on the jacks, so we'll watch Jared Philsell.
Yeah, Mike Perez is in the pit lane damaged. Looks like he's probably spun it. Ciolak's also pit.
Right, so
Adju Perez into the pit
front
lane.
Straight.
Rogers
on the front
still
straight.
in the box, still in the box. Down and away.
Yeah, so, yep, 2 seconds.
And he's going to slot in.
Close.
No, that's good. So even sort of drag, get in the draft. Is he going to fire it up here? Cold tyres, is he going to do it? And Ciolak's also rejoining behind these guys. He's got, that's Hobson and Ellis. Ellis not for position though. So he had a good in-lap then, Rogers, to essentially lose 2.5 seconds in a stop and pop out right behind Philsell when Philsell was 1 second behind when he stopped, sorry.
Yeah, so he's actually made a bit of time, but...
And the field is now cleansed as well.
Philsell may have muffed his outlap as well though.
Yeah, cold tyre outlap.
Yeah, you see Rogers dropping off on the cold tyres. He's running super conservative. That's allowed Philsell to pull out probably that second.
Yeah, 0.8 of a second at the moment. So when we cross the stripe, we'll get the updated timing for you and give you a rundown of the order after these pit stops. It was a bit hectic, just we came to sort of lap 7 and it all lit up. So next stops we should see around about lap 17, 18.
And Rogers is actually, Hampstead actually isn't too far behind these guys. He won't have a move on Rogers probably because, you know, not team orders, but doesn't want to lose time to Jared. So I'd say Richard's probably just going to sit here and wait for Rogers to try and get the move done on Philsell.
We did see it also at the start of the race. Rogers struggled with that first lap compared to Phil Self. So I think second lap we'll probably see that gap close again and Rogers be right on that gearbox of Phil Self. Oh, Phil Self got a Formula Drift off the exit of Murray's corner there.
Siolak looks like maybe he lost a bit of time in the pits. It's quite a fair way back.
Well, he took this longer stop compared to Hampstead as well, and Hobson had the shorter stop, so that makes sort of sense where he is at the moment.
Yep, that's true. Let's see the battle pack that we
Also
saw.
going white line.
Sell to the inside. Rogers is going to try and hang it wide. Brave stuff, but he's in the marbles.
Don't bin it. Oh,
Rear wing scraping the barrier there. Now Richards all in this. Oh, Rogers. Aggressive to the inside. Just carrying a bit of a different line to the other two. Now Richards well and truly in this now.
they got to be careful they don't get caught up in each other as well. We saw it last night when it was just the two of them. Make sure we don't have a shunt. There's a lot less margin for error around Bathurst compared to Spa. So the top 10 now, it's Phil Searle, Rogers, Hampstead, Sealack, Hobson, your top 5, then Williams, Burke, McLeod, O'Sullivan, Dodman. That's your 10.
Good showing for Reds and Hobson. That's actually really solid to be in P5 there.
He showed some good pace in the Wednesday night OSR race as well. Rogers and I were in that, and he was there or thereabouts with us, which is pretty good. SSR cars are probably... TTR and TTL cars at the moment seem to be on another world. SSR are sort of that rung below at the moment, sort of knocking on the door. It's Rogers in the draft running towards the chase. Does he have a dig? Because he's got great straight line speed. Here we go, down the inside into the chase, pulls it up beautifully.
He's too deep though. And there's an exit.
Oh, that's
Oh, and
Hampstead to the outside. That's going to have actually done some proper damage to Phil Searle's car though, that shunt.
Yeah.
That's going to be some straight line damage.
It's hard to pick someone to blame there. I think Rogers was a bit deep, maybe ran himself out of road, and it just caught Phil Searle off guard when he had to get on the anchors. Because Phil Searle, of course, as a driver, is lining up for that crisscross to try and get the run on the outside, and to have Rogers still on the anchors on exit probably caught him out.
So I'm just going to do a speed check as we come up to Griffin's Bend, comparing Phil Searle to Rogers. Phil Searle in the draft, Rogers outside the draft. 254 for Rogers, 258 for Phil Searle. So seems to be all good. In fact, that damage has just fixed itself. So I think it might have been a net code shunt we saw there.
Yeah, it was probably just a light tap.
But what it has done though is it's promoted Hampstead above him now, and it's TTL 1-2.
Now, we know how Hampstead is. He's a great racer, veteran of our sim racing sport. But we know he hasn't been happy with Rogers dethroning him as number 1 V8. Now, could this be Richard's chance to maybe have a go at Josh Rogers here?
Absolutely. It's official series. Just go for it. It's not like Scops where you got to sort of worry about it a bit more. It's well and truly on.
I would love to see it happen. Of course, Richard is trying to get his pro license back, otherwise the 91 TTLR car may not make an appearance for round 1. But Richard, bit of wheel spin on exit of Forest Elbow there.
So I want to check lap times when they cross the stripe as well, because Phil Searle seems to have dropped a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit at the moment. It might just be him sort of cooling out, getting back in his rhythm.
It would have hurt his rhythm. Yeah, just that punt there. He would have had clear open track for a little while, and yeah.
To look for back in the pack, looks like Richard Aylward and Dave Oliver having a little bit of a scrap.
I'll keep us updated on these lap times. It's going to be Rogers to the stripe to finish lap 12.
Sorry, Stenny's in the pits at the moment as well. Stenny's pedals have failed.
He was complaining about issues at the early stages of the race, so fortunate time for Stenny, but it's a 4.9 for Rogers, 5.3 for Hammer, and 5.2 for Phil Searle. So Phil Searle recovered quite nicely towards the end of that lap. Maybe Hammer struggling a little bit in that draft.
As we're looking at Aylward and Oliver on screen at the moment, there's about 15th and 16th. They're actually sort of It's doing my head at the moment because the front of those cars with that silvery metallic colour and the red on Dave's car matching sort of the red on ANZ cars is just playing with me a little bit.
Yeah, I think Richard Elwood, did he leave ANZ?
I'm not sure. It still says ANZ on the car, but that driver lineup at that squad has been pretty fluid the last couple of weeks. No, I'm not entirely sure who's where. We'll probably just find out in 2 weeks when we go racing in Montreal.
Seeing Postlethwaite and Morales going at it. Morales with the upper hand. Sorry, Postlethwaite with the upper hand at the moment. Morales looking racy though. Just see if we can take a look at our gains and losses, because Postlethwaite actually is a fair way up the grid, 21st to 13th. A lot of the guys in this stage of the field just capitalise on some moves. But Rogers obviously up from 2nd to 1st, Hammer up from 3rd to 2nd, Phil Sell, the loser of those two, down to 3rd. Then it's pretty much the same, other than Wayne Burke. We haven't spoken much about him. This one has moved from 10th to 7th, so...
He's been pretty quiet achiever at the moment.
Not too bad for Burkey. And Luke Harvey, I think, is actually our best gains of the field, up 9th, 20th, as we see him on screen, trying to chase down Hayden Dobler.
So the lead gap's out to 1 second now. Rogers doing good time. Last lap again at 2:04.9 versus the 5.3 and 5.5 from Hempstead and Phil Sell respectively.
And Phil Sell, I think it wasn't damaged, but I think that's just hurt his rhythm a lot, that contact with Rogers there.
Oliver and the one Perez that's left in the race, he's closed up nicely this lap. I think Perez actually has the pace, he's just made a few mistakes coming into the pit stop cycle.
Yeah, well, last time by he was 6/10 faster than both the guys in front. This time looks about the same, actually.
Yeah, 6/10 again. Would not surprise me if he has a dive at Griffins just to clear Oliver and then have a run at Aylward down into the chase.
Might not quite have the pace to do it just yet. He might have to be stuck behind Davo all the way over the top of the hill. Probably try and avoid that, but it's a bit far back at the moment, I think, with Aylward getting Davo getting a nice little tow from Aylward.
Looking rearward from Dave Oliver, soon just Sim Racing Commodore. So the Perez brothers tonight won the champion, one not, and the champs had a rough one. He's 3 laps out at the moment, 27th position, still in the pit lane.
Are they actually brothers?
I don't know.
We'll say they are.
Same last name, same livery. It's a bit too coincidental, Jake. I probably assumed I just made an ass of myself, but that's alright.
Nah, we'll say they're brothers. That's alright.
What if they're sisters? Or brother and sister?
Yeah.
Because they're Adria, it's a bit gender neutral.
A bit like Madison.
Nah, it's a girl's name for sure.
Oh, wow. Anyway, Adria.
Back to the racing.
It looks like, looking back at some guys a bit further back, 18th and 19th, Mackenzie and Beresford. Beresford looking a little bit close. I think these guys have been pretty much stuck together all race.
Yeah, they started 25th, 27th. They're 18th, 19th on track at the moment. So the guys who pit around about lap 8 should be in about 2-3 laps time.
Yeah, Jordan Murphy was the only one who pitted earlier. I think the end of lap 16 is probably, no, the end of lap 15.
17.
Yeah, you can either pit at the end of lap 15, 16...
So Rogers will go to the end of 17. End of 16
17,
will probably be for Phil Sell and Hempstead. Although our mental math ability would be quite poor and we should stick to driving.
Looking at Davo and Richard Elwood, I think these guys just seem to be able to get close to each other and then hit that wall of air and can't really do anything with it.
Yeah, we saw that a few seasons back as well. You got to within about a second and you just know where you could go. think with this new tyre and the aero push, it's playing a bit more havoc on some drivers, but Aylward just slightly wide through Griffin's Bend, just missed that tip-in point where the road falls away and it sort of tucks you into the corner.
Yeah, Davo's actually running very different lines to Aylward, whether that's just his driving style or whether he's looking for the air and maybe trying to see around Aylward's car, because it is tough following a car around Bathurst. You've got so many tough apexes to sight as it is, and then you've got a big rear wing.
Oh, Davo's very loose. Gathered it up.
Have a moment.
Perez would be licking his, her, I don't know, any more lips. Has a big dive at Skyline, throws it in there massively.
Then again, when it comes down to the bottom of the hill where it's the sort of the crucial sections, they split up again, but Davo has a moment. Perez is a bit closer now, but I think with Aylward's draft, not really going to be able to do much.
Just an update on the lead, gap's now out to 1.9 seconds, first to second, and Hammer's been able to drop Fussell a bit. It's now about 1.3 seconds between those two, sorry. So you're like putting along nicely in position. Hobson's still 5th. In fact, the top 10 hasn't changed much since we last reported. Everyone's been pretty quiet in the top 10. Everyone's sort of split up a bit.
Yeah, there's no real battle pack.
Oh, Mitch McLeod and Sullivan is closing up though. Last lap for O'Sullivan a 6 dead, McLeod a 7-4.
As is Harvey and Dodman, actually. 6-2 from Harvey, basically a 6-5 from Dodman, so those two are closing up too. Luke Harvey's a guy that a lot of people are saying will be really strong this season.
He's showed some good form so far in the official series. He's been up around the top 5 when the fields haven't been as strong as tonight. And tonight he's doing a good job knocking on the door of the top 10 here. So looking at, we'll stay with Dodman and Harvey for the time being. The director obviously choosing his teammates here. He's telling me it's the closest battle though.
Yeah. Tyson Williams, I was just looking at him, he's actually pulled over and gone on the pits with a lot of rear end damage, so...
Yeah, he's taken the
he's crashed coming out of Griffin's.
Oh, he's done I tell you what he's done, I think he's done the embarrassing crash.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. He's done that embarrassing one when you arrive the curb off Griffin's and you just hit that wall that pokes out there. Not as embarrassing as you've done it though, Jake.
Yeah, he's hit it in probably the lightest way you can possibly hit it, but unfortunately that ANZ Falcon, the rear ends hit the wall after, and that's just finished the job off for him.
I remember a few seasons back, Jake, you've actually set and punched that wall with the front of the car.
Yep, it's all
I've had Bocatel hit me after he's done that as well. So it's actually a common mistake to make. You sort of get up on that curb and it keeps you out there. If you want to turn back right, you get that wheel spin and you're probably going to end up in the other fence anyway. So a lot of guys just end up driving straight into it.
Yeah, that's going to be meatball and race Hobson over Tyson Williams.
In the lane.
Hobson. Yep,
as expected.
So he's going the 8-8-9. Yep. So it's going to be a long final stint for Hobson. So that's going to mean that Phil Sell is going to have an 8-lap final stint.
Yeah, 8-9-8 for Phil Sell. Same for Hampstead. Rogers is probably going to go 9-9-8.
9-9-7.
Yeah, 7, that's the one. Aylward's lost out to Oliver.
Last time. Yeah, Oliver pitted though.
Okay, so Hobson's actually going to come out in an awkward position. He's going to drop in behind Adria Perez.
It's alright though, because he's going to get draft for a lap here. Maybe front tyres a little bit more and then they'll pit, so...
Draft on the cold tyre lap's not too bad.
Probably not the worst thing that could happen to Hobson. Just driven his own race so far, driven really smart. Car number 21, so should get the good old I-rating haul as well. Should also mention that we had 93 cars registered tonight, so Bathurst week putting on quite a show.
Yeah, Bathurst is a good one, I think.
Oh, I don't know if we were watching Hobson there, but he had a big moment off the cutting, just couldn't put the power down.
So you've got the leaders coming down Conrod Straight. We'll see if any of them go to the lane. You expect Hampstead and Phil Sell will. Rogers might and get the extra and sort of make advantage with his shorter fill. Rogers the lane. Hampstead and Phil Sell both into the pits as well. So lead was 3.8 as they pulled off the racing surface.
We'll expect it to be about 5 when Rogers comes out.
It's going to be a battle of the pit crews though between Richard and Phil Sell, because they're on the same strategy here. The gap was 0.6 at the moment, and it was when they left the track.
Phil Sell's had slightly better draft, but Richard's also less on the... Phil Sell's had better draft, and he's a right foot breaker, but he's also had 2 cars in his way on the way to the box.
Bad
That's
entry.
cost him.
He had a double dip at it.
I still think Phil Sell will probably come off on front.
So Burke, McLeod, Dodman, Harvey, Parks also in the lane. Rogers down the way. Advantage for Phil Sell is he is the first pit box and he's jumped him.
He's done it. Yeah. By much though.
So good work from the TTR pit crew there. And he's done a good job for Rogers as well. He's actually been able to pop out in front of Ryan O'Sullivan. In
Richard
very
might
clean
have a
air.
go here. Richard's going to go to the outside of Jared Philsell on the way into Griffins. Cold tyres, these guys are going to want to be careful, especially Richard. Plays it smart, tucks in behind.
Potentially was trying to get Phil Sell to overcommit to the corner. So it's going to be a good battle between these two as well towards the end of the race, because they were pretty much neck and neck on pace in that second stint.
I've said it before about Richard Hampstead. Probably one of the best defensive drivers, if not the best defensive driver in V8 Scott. So if he can get in front of Phil Sell, he won't
he's not
make
half
it
bad
easy.
at passing either. 2015 round 1, uses half the gas.
On Jared Philsell as well, actually. But he's actually maybe struggled a little bit more. We saw Philsell was really strong on cold tyres compared to these TTL cars, and that's apparent once again here.
So current leader is Mitchell Selak, yet to pit, and he should be in this lap. He was on the same strategy as Rogers, but he's just gone a lap longer. He's very nearly lost it at the chase.
Doesn't really matter for Selak. He doesn't have to commit too much to this entry because he's got pretty much clear track where he is.
He's all by himself.
Although Bathurst is a great fun track to be driving around, it does suck when you got no one else to race with.
Yeah, it does get kind of boring when there's no one around you. He definitely committed to the pit entry. He had it sideways, all locked up, coming in to hit the line there. The Ryan O'Sullivan peels off as well.
Also looking, Hayden Dodman. Wasn't Dodman going to battle with Harvey?
Dodman was, he was in 10th battling Harvey. Harvey's dropped off.
Yeah, but now Dodman's got
lapping...
a lap car to deal with.
No, actually, this car has not pitted. Yep. So this is the position we're seeing with Dodman here.
This is not what Dodman wants to see with Harvey not too far behind, but he's now peeled off.
Oh, Hempstead died at Griffin's Bend. Oh, Phil Sell's gone around. He's not quite gone around, but he's gone to the fence. There's massive net code there, though.
Yeah, big net code. Jared left enough room, but...
There's a tyre width easily in there, so...
Richard's car, just... Net code made Richard's car wider than what it should have been. These guys are used to racing each other on Australian servers.
Phil Sell will be fired up though, or I think Hampstead's actually sort of backing off to let him redress that position.
Yeah, I think maybe on Conrad Richard might give it back. But we'll see.
Up until that point though, it was a good dive from Richard. It was sort of opportunistic. He popped out of the mirrors at the last second.
Let's see if Richard hands the position over. Doesn't look like he will.
He's probably just closed the gap up and made it fight resume. Because at that point Richard essentially did have the position. There is no traction on the outside there.
So you're saying he morally had the position?
I'm saying if you take away the net code and go around the corner, Phil Sell is third. 30 seconds because there is a zero grip.
Phil Sell with a run now though. We know how deep he's been going into this last corner. Just shows the nose, doesn't do anything with it.
TTL cars have had good brakes though.
TTL
Ryan
cars,
O'Sullivan just so Jake Ryan O'Sullivan, very slow exiting the dipper. He's actually spun it. He spun it on the run between the dipper and the elbow. He's actually been there for a while. I'm just replaying, going back through my own replay here to see what he's done. So he's in a fight with Mitchell McLeod, and he's just got on the throttle a bit too heavy, exiting that right-hander, leaving the dipper, and he's around, he's gone. Nose first and then back into the wall. So that replay's up on screen now.
Yeah, fuel cell's looking very racy on the back of Richard Hampstead.
We have 6 laps to go at the moment, and the gap between Rogers and this battle is 9 seconds.
Yeah, a few seconds there being lost because of that contact. It's pretty much Rogers' race from now on, but shouldn't say that. Bathurst is a tough track to keep it out of the fence, especially if you don't have people to keep your mind sharp.
Yeah, all it takes is a little bit of understeer that you weren't expecting, and away you go.
We've actually seen quite a few self-crashes in this race. You've seen 2 up at Skyline.
Yeah, I think this new tyre is just playing a bit of havoc with guys because we're very recent off another Bathurst round in official series, and everyone does a lot of laps here come to 1,000, so we're used to a certain way the car feels around this track. I know it's...
Fuel cell knocks the ball coming
that's
into
a legit
elbow.
one.
It's alright though, he's got a big gap back to Mitchell Ciolak, but I'd say that's probably the fuel cell Hampstead battle done.
Yeah, Fuel Cell's still 283 into the chase compared to Hampstead's 82, sorry. So not massively quicker. Probably actually expecting to be a bit quicker in the draft. So our director's using some dodgy speedometer technology at the moment. Apparently the Supercar can do 305 kilometers an hour. That's what Hampstead was doing. Don't know how, considering the extra weight he's carrying in that car.
Oh, that was a bit of a rough stab there, Sam.
All's fair between teammates.
Richard Hampstead still repping the KFC helmet.
Nothing beats though. I'm going to go to helmets here for a second because there's not a lot going on track. Lee Ellis, if he's still on the circuit, which he is, director needs to get a front-facing shot of Lee Ellis's helmet. And just have a look. He's got the eyes on. I'm losing it, not even looking at it. Our director's gone. Jake's just like, yep, situation normal, he's my teammate.
Yep, that's just common occurrence here at TTR.
That's right, Lee's always got the eyes on. 100% committed.
Hammer actually with a little bit of a moment over the top of the hill there out of McPhillamy Park. Tell you what we should do, Sam, given some of the battles are split up. We haven't done this for a while. We did it pretty much every week last season. Should we take a ride on board with Josh Rogers next lap? When we are at Mount Panorama?
I'd say let's give it a shot.
I think maybe our 2015 Bathurst 1000 champion should take us through it.
Oh, we'll do the old walkthrough, talk through, will we?
Yep, that's
righto. So here you go, Rogers coming out of the chase towards Murray's corner. Second gear corner here, you want to brake just before 100 board. Down 2, maybe 3 gears depending on how you're going with your ratio. Onto the main straight. Very important exit though of the last corner there. Up to 4th gear, down to 100 metre board. Down 2 gears to 2nd gear for turn 1, hell corner. Get a good exit, use a bit of curb there, and use the exit curb to sort of motorcycle berm you there, then up the gears. 5th gear, you're going to be pulling just before the pedals sign, up mountain straight. Take a breath because it's commitment for the rest of the lap. We're getting to just before the 100 board now, and then it's hard on the brakes, down 2 gears to 3rd. Get it tucked in against this curb, there's a nice jump in the road. If you get it right, it's going to pull you around the corner. Roger's using 2nd there. So Roger's using the longer gear ratio, so 2nd, 3rd, he grabs 4th, down a gear, then down another gear into the cutting. Pull 3rd gear before the jump here. And then just ride the throttle and the grip you've got through this dog leg section and up to 4th gear over the rise. And this is all about commitment. How close you get to the wall through the grate. There's a bit of curb on the left, right it to the wall on the right, and once again flick it right over the curb on the left here. and trying to avoid this curb on the right. Still fourth gear, running towards Skyline, hard on the brakes down to third gear, and then second gear with the left-hander, and then get your nose right in against this wall, and once again throw it at the wall essentially there, at the dipper, and then up through the gears. Third gear, coming into the elbow now, it's close to that wall on the right, again down to second. Rogers using first gear into the cutting, sorry, forest elbow. And Rogers' cars goes absolutely berserk on my screen, and it's just plucking gears down Conrod Straight. All the way to sixth gear, see what speed Rogers can do. Using the longer gear ratio, that's why we saw earlier, Jakey was able to sort of drive around fuel cell 286 before he gets the brakes hard at the 300 metre board. Down 4 gears to second for the chase. Pull third on the right-hander. Just ride the car out to the curb again, motorcycle berm it. Fourth gear, and then that is the lap complete. 6.2 kilometres of pure joy. What that
Awesome
time does
circuit.
it complete. 2:04.9. He actually did the fastest lap of the race when we joined him. He did 2:04.6.
Yeah, so he's flying at the moment. That's absolute masterclass you'll see around Bathurst, and I thought that was quite interesting that he's running the very long ratio, Sam, the new Bathurst gear ratio. He actually had to pull first gear up at the cutting there, so...
Well, it's the gear design for Bathurst that no one uses, because it plays with a lot of drivers' rhythm, and none of us really, I personally don't like it. I know a lot of TTL drivers don't like it. Some might use it, but yeah, I haven't found it well. We're looking at Oliver and Aylwood though, this battle 14th and 15th.
The thing is, Sam, is in the old car, which so many of us learnt to race in,
Aylwood's just driven right past him. I think Oliver might be saving some fuel, because that was too easy.
Yeah, the thing is many of us racing in the old car when it was the 3:15 ratio, that was just sort of how we learned to drive around this place, and then having to use different RPMs and different ratios just feels a little bit unusual, and you don't need it anyway, because the car of the future doesn't get up near 300 like the old car used to.
And even then, it just gives you a bit more understeer too, because you're carrying a lower rev through the corner, so you can't throttle steer the car as much, which some guys like to do across the top. I've personally never found it to be any good. I've actually gone about half a second slow with that top ratio, so it's there for Le Mans basically now. It's not the Bathurst gear, it's the Le Mans gear, and we're never going there again, I think.
I loved Le Mans. That was an awesome track. Why can't we go back? 315 k's an hour down the straight. Flying past.
So Roger's about to start lap 24, so we're at 2 to go. And the gap between Hampstead and Fuel Cell stayed pretty static at 0.8 of a second.
One mistake from Hampstead is all it takes, though. Fuel
Yeah,
cell.
one slide at the one slide at the elbow, one slide at the cutting, and that's a lot of time lost.
This was basically the same situation as was between Fuel Cell and I in the early race.
Oh, Hampstead's had a bit of entry oversteer into the chase and had to have another dab at the brake to actually control it. Didn't lose too much time though.
I think Fuel Cell maybe lost some time early in the lap though. Seems to have dropped a bit further off Richard there, but 2 to go for these two anyway. It's the lap times. It's going to be a 2:05.9 from Fuel Cell and a 5:7 from Hammer. So
Meanwhile, 2-1 from, sorry, 5-1 from Rogers.
5:8 from Ciolak.
So Rogers at the moment, he seems to have mastered the tyre life game that is required with this new tyre. Looking at Brenton Hobson, just did a fairly mint release video for the new Synergy Sim Racing cars. I'd say a solid 9 out of 10 release video. He's also done a fair bit of promotional stuff with at Scops as well. And I believe when AEC Australian Endurance Championship was still running, he did a bit of primary work for them as well. Also got his own YouTube channel, Hobbo88, does some onboard stuff if you want to check him out.
And I think maybe it's an appropriate time to maybe hint at the possibility of maybe Hobbo doing a V8 Scops video. Maybe. We're allowed to say that?
He's already done V8 Scops videos though, Jake. It's no secret he does videos for you. He's done many videos.
Maybe a new intro video for 2017. Maybe.
Stop being cryptic. I think you're going to get a slap on the wrist from someone important tonight, Jake. Naughty boy, saying too much.
Fonzie wouldn't slap me on the wrist.
Alright, we're going to stop there.
Yep.
So going back to Richard Aylwood and Dave Oliver, you know the racing's not as much as it could be when Jake and I go off on mad tangents. Last night Rogers and Kilso kept us in check, but they haven't tonight.
Nothing beat the Bathurst 1000, mate. That was an excellent commentary thing we had going there with the race. We actually played a game of 21 questions mid-race.
As you do. It's a 6-hour race, you've got to keep yourself entertained. So Aylwood,
Anyway.
Ryan O'Sullivan's actually pretty close to Christopher Beresford, but that's not for position.
And Rogers
Actually,
is
it is,
now on
sorry.
the last lap.
Rogers just started the last lap, white flag now. So Beresford's in 17th, O'Sullivan 18th. O'Sullivan's dropping more spots, he's just dropped in behind... Oh, who did he drop in behind? Dean O'Brien, so that's a lap car. Director saying he's out of fuel, and we're going to just jump on board and have a listen. Well, he did a 2:12 last lap, and he's been clutching it down the hill. He's not using all the revs down Conrod. He's in trouble.
Well, he pitted on lap 18.
Phil Sell's 4.5 seconds off of Richard now too, of Hampstead. Potentially not enough fuel.
Uh,
Now, Director's saying someone's
interesting.
clutching. Is this O'Sullivan who's
Phil Sell.
clutching, or is it Phil Sell? No, Phil Sell. Sealak's in here.
The thing is, yep, he's out. You can roll to the start-finish line from here, but it means he's going to lose position.
He's going to probably maybe even lose to Hobson and Burke here, because he's only got to drop another 20 seconds.
Save the fuel, Jared.
Not even
Save
that.
it for Conrod.
16 seconds from Phil Sell to Hobson to Sealak. That's TTL 123. I'm happy. You're probably not, Jake, but this is a good night.
See, this is where I think the fuel restrictions are really bad, you know?
Yeah. I already framed the fuel restrictions earlier in the broadcast, Jake. We can't jump on the bandwagon
I
now.
think Phil Sell might have saved a bit for Conrod, because he's up to pace now. He shouldn't lose it to Hobson. Although, Josh Rogers has taken the last corner and will take victory here at Bathurst. A pretty awesome track to take a win at. Dominant win for him, but
That's what he's probably saying over in TeamSpeak, winner chicken dinner.
yeah, Richard's going to bring home second, but we want to watch Phil Sell because Hobson is in the chase now. Nah, Jared's got enough fuel to get to the line. It's going to be
Yeah, he's
Jared
made
in
it.
P4.
Yeah, Jared
He's out
P4.
now though. Nothing. Motor is stalled.
I don't know how
Like
that's possible.
occasionally.
I'm confused as to how he's out of fuel and Hampstead's not.
Well, the thing is he only had to do...
So, a director's saying Phil Sell was 2 seconds slower in the stop, which is about, 4 litres or so, which is a lap. So, yeah, I understand now why he was out of fuel. So, Olwen and Aylward into the chase. Aylward's 13th, 14th position. This looks... Oh, Aylward's around! Oh, he's going to get that up! Oh, almost had to jump on the anchors there, and Aylward's kind of saved himself by nearly crashing.
Very similar to what we saw between Rogers and Phil Sell earlier.
Hearing
Jared complaining about...
Phil Sell blaming the technology.
Yeah, he's obviously read some numbers wrong or been given some wrong information. But that is a shame for Phil Sell, I think. Just looking back, Parksy's over the line, so is Mackenzie. Beresford's going to cross the line, who we were worried was out of fuel, and it looks like Ryan O'Sullivan is going to make it back with plenty of fuel as well. So once we see, I believe Brenton O'Brien is coming into the chase now. He's the last car on the lead lap. Once we see him cross, we'll run through our results.
He's just crossed the line, so we'll run through... Actually, no, I looked at the wrong car. Yeah. Looking at O'Sullivan, not O'Brien there. As he crosses the line now. So Josh Rogers takes the win with Richard Hampstead second and Mitchell Sealak third for a TTL 1-2-3. Jared Philsell fourth with Brenton Hobson fifth, Wayne Burke sixth, Mitchell McLeod seventh. Eighth, Hayden Dodman, Luke Harvey ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is Glenn Postlethwaite.
Over the page, we're going to have David Morales in 11th, Adria Perez 12th, Richard Aylward 13th, Dave Oliver 14th. Those two had a little scrap in the last couple of corners. Todd Parks 15th, Darren McKenzie in 16th with Christopher Beresford in 17th, Ryan O'Sullivan 18th, Borja Casal in 19th, and Brenton O'Brien rounding out the 20 and the last on the lead lap.
And then we've got Dino Bryan a lap down with Daniel Cruz, Jordan Murphy, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, Lee Ellis and Mark Perez, Tyson Williams, 26th, Kurt Stenberg, 27th, Stuart Vaughan, 28th, and rounding out the field in 29th and 30th, Michael Cracknell and David Moore.
Yeah, rough night for some of the TTR boys out there, but very big congratulations to TTL for 1, 2 and 3 in that one. We'll see if we can get some of the drivers come in and say hello. I think the first driver we should maybe chat to is Jared Philsell, so maybe you can explain to us the little fuel situation, mate. What happened?
My dashboard can't work out a stint of fuel to save itself, it appears. Nah, I just underfilled by 2 litres. Didn't realise until Iracing told me, because he didn't give me the 5 lap warning until the second last lap, so bit of dodgy.
Besides the fuel, you had some good pace, especially lap 1. You seemed to be able to drive away from those TTL cars, but then sort of switched over in lap 2. Did you feel you had that lap 1 pace on each stint compared to those guys?
Nah, not really. Just no pace at all, really. That's what you expect when you drive the Porsche and rock up with minimal practice.
Oh, mate, bit of a shame, but obviously this is probably, well, it is your last chance to race V8 Supercars before we go racing in V8 Scops in 2 weeks' time. So, what's the go there? You keen to go racing for Scops?
Yeah, it's a bit of a trolley at the moment. Not enjoying the car, to be honest, but yeah, I just gotta keep my bum out of the Porsche, and we'll be right.
Oh, mate, before we let you go, got anyone to thank?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Harrop. The car looks great on the broadcast. Custom Image have done a great job painting up all the TTR cars.
Well, that was Jared Philsell, 4th place tonight. Should have been 3rd, but a fuel error in the last stop. We've actually just grabbed Josh Rogers up into the box now, our winner. We'll let him talk first. Josh, what on the win, mate, and wrapping up the TTL 1, 2, 3 to end the season?
Yeah, cheers, boys. That was actually a pretty interesting race from the get-go. Quali was a bit sketchy. I wasn't used to such a cold track. I haven't driven on one for a while, but look, I made a meal of both my quali laps. I was a bit gutted with myself, but knew Phil Seller would get a good jump, as he did, as he always does. And yeah, it was just a matter of trying to get clear and see what strategies panned out. I think Richard and Phil Seller ran a different one to I did. I ran as long as I could in the first one and shortened up my last stint, and that seemed to work for me. I think, at least I know Richard split his stops. So look, it was interesting the whole way, and especially that last lap. Unfortunate for Jared. Never like it when your systems fail on you, but good for TTL 1, 2, 3. You.
So I asked Jared this question and he sort of gave us a vague answer, but it looked like he had better pace sort of lap 1.5 on his tyres, and then your tyres sort of came on. Do you think that was true?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first probably 3 or so laps in the stint, I think Phil Sell's car was really on. But then, I think I'm not sure. But our cars seem to hang on to the tyre. But they did go off a little bit at the end though, and I think we've definitely still got a few things we can work on to improve them around Bathurst at least.
Well, mate, congratulations on the win. I think that's 5 in a row for the broadcast. So you've clean swept the broadcast races this season. Congratulations, and anyone like to thank before we let you go?
Just a big thanks as always to our Hyperstimulator. They do a great job and do a great job at helping us out and making sure we stay all good. TTL as well, all the effort they put in, we wouldn't be able to rock up and race and enjoy ourselves as much as we do without the effort of those boys. So cheers again, and you guys for the broadcast.
There you go, that's Josh Rogers, winner of round 12 and best placed Australian in the championship as well. We'll actually bring up Richard Hampstead, who we were almost in conversation with down there. Hammer, well done on P2, mate. Looks like you had a good battle with Fuel Cell in that net code incident with about a tyre width between you two, sort of brought it undone.
Yeah, cheers. Reasonably happy with that. Didn't do a whole lot of prep. Just rocked up mostly to get some SR for the Blancpain series starting in a few weeks. But Yeah, reasonably happy with that. Always, you've had a good race when you beat Jared Filsell. Couldn't quite take it to Rogers, but yeah, not too unhappy.
Rogers still has the number one stick at TTL, it appears, but not bad for rocking up and racing sort of last minute, and you haven't been in the V8 much recently. You reckon you're feeling good for Scops in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, I'm seeming to like the car quite a bit at the moment, so I'm gonna ramp up the practice a bit the next 2 weeks definitely, and give Montreal a good crack.
So I'll pass you over to Jake, see if he's got any more questions for you.
Notice, Richard, haven't been having as much of a fang in the Porsche as what we've seen guys like Rogers and Filsell and Madison doing. Not so much of a fan of the car.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but I'm just very bad at it. So, yeah. Nah, I want to focus on Scops a bit more this year and try to push the top guys a little bit more. So, yeah, the Porsche is good, but I don't know. I'm not as in love with it as some other people. So, yeah.
Nah, I'm with you there, mate. So before we let you go, do you want to give any shout-outs to anyone?
Yeah, shout out to whole team TTL, sponsors Hyperstimulator, Custom Image and SimSpec, and of course V8's Online for the quality broadcast.
Thank you very much, mate. That's Richard Hampstead, everybody, a second place finisher tonight. I think we'll finish it up by chatting to Brenton Hobson for Synergy Sim Racing, mate. 5th place, you got to be stoked with that.
Hey mate, yeah, no, I'm pretty pleased with that. That's I'm not sure that might be my best ever result in the top split Monday night race, so I'll certainly take it.
Well, you had some good pace early in the week in the Wednesday night OSR race. Rogers and I were in there with you, and you've backed it up tonight. It seems like you might just have an affinity with Bathurst, or do you reckon you've got that SSR car sort of working well coming into Scops?
I'd say it's a combination of both. Like, this is a bit of a favourite track of mine. Always go pretty well here. I was a little bit off the pace tonight. I hit the wall about halfway through the race and had to back it off. I was sort of hanging around just behind Mitch Ciolak. I was hoping to stick with him to the end, but yeah, I think the car's got good speed. We've got a couple of guys in the team that are doing a real nice job with the setups at the minute, and a few of our guys are showing some really good pace. So coming into Scops, that's what you want to see.
So speaking of Scops, you did your release for Synergy last night. You guys looking forward to that? I've seen a few driver shake-ups, and I think what was your number one driver, Michael Schreier, sort of jumped out of the seat and up into the race control booth.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's an awesome series, and we all really enjoy doing it. And yes, Michael has decided to have a run in the not the commentary box, the race control for a change. And yeah, he's certainly one of our better drivers. So that'll be a bit different. He didn't run a full schedule last year anyway, so I'm sure we'll manage without him. But it will be a bit sad to see him not on the track with us when we go out for round one.
Well, mate, congratulations on 5th place. Before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Just a shout out to the guys in the team for all their hard work. To Reese for all his work on the paints, and especially to Dave Moore, who's done a lot of work with the setups here the last few weeks. And yeah, really appreciate all that they do.
Well, mate, congratulations again on 5th place. Look forward to seeing you 2 weeks' time at Montreal in Scops. So that's Brenton Hobson, P5 tonight, and that wraps up the season, Jake. We're all done.
Absolutely right, Sam. It has been a cool season. We couldn't bring them all to you, but we've brought the last few races for sure. Obviously, moving forward, our next broadcast will be next weekend's Porsche Carrera Cup Australia race, and then after that, we're straight back into the V8 Scops racing for round one at Montreal. It's going to be an exciting one. Yeah,
it's full on at V8's Online the next couple of months. Porsche pretty much every Sunday, if not. It's V8 Scops, and then every Monday night we're here again with the V8 Supercars official series. You think you'll have me and Jake again for 2 of those series? I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. If we're going to be involved in Scops at all this season?
Probably going to be second split, maybe.
We'll bring the dev split laughs back again like last year.
Well, Sam, I think we'll wrap it up for now. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched. We'll see you next Sunday for Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. This has been Sam Sutton and Jake Burton here at Mount Panorama for the V8 Supercars official online series. Your race winner, Joshua Rogers.